Bill Nye Saves the World has been nominated for a freaking Emmy. Is there any better time for a scientist to announce their new YouTube channel? I really can't think of any better time than this. I am a scientist, or at least I'm trying to become one. I'm currently working on my PhD at a top 5 university, and I really do not consider Bill Nye to be any sort of authority on science. In fact, I just consider him to be a dangerous narcissist. He's just as educated as any run-of-the-mill scientist or engineer, having only obtained a bachelor's degree. Most scientists or engineers will go on to obtain a master's, if not PhD. Now, Bill did do some engineering for Boeing in the late 70s, early 80s, getting 1 or 2 patents in his 9 years there. Since then, I'm sure he has gotten many kids into science with his show Bill Nye the Science Guy, which is admirable and I do appreciate it, but I just really don't consider him to be a scientist anymore. Actually, the term science guy is much more fitting because he hasn't done any real science in roughly 30 years or so. Since his time after leaving Boeing, his scientific contributions to the world include designing a new ballet shoe, designing a bag filled with water, which he calls a lens. Now, he did put a sundial on Mars, which is pretty cool. I mean, I don't have a sundial on Mars, but it just kind of seems like a waste of taxpayer money and seems kind of pointless, honestly. But hey, sundial on Mars. More power to you, Bill Nye. As I'm sure we all remember, he went on to pointlessly debate Ken Ham a few times. It's pretty interesting. I really don't know if he expected to change their minds. I think he was really just looking for attention. He misled millions of people about the nature of climate change. Now, Bill Nye is correct that climate change was largely man-made, at least in the beginning. But he really does a good job of not giving people the full picture on climate change. He pretty much just uses climate change as a political wedge issue at this point, which is pretty dangerous in my opinion. And then the pinnacle of his career, he called an ice cream orgy cool. I really don't think Bill Nye cares about science. From my point of view, he only really cares about himself. As I claimed before, he's just a narcissist, and here's my evidence for that. While working for Boeing, he would constantly apply to be a NASA astronaut. Pretty much ever since he started his career as an engineer, he's been trying to leave that career for a different career path, which would bring him more fame and attention. So yeah, that's why he would constantly apply to be an astronaut, and he was constantly rejected. So then, on his quest for fame and attention, he became a stand-up comedian for a while. When that didn't pan out, he started his kid show, Bill Nye the Science Guy, which did, granted, bring him lots of fame and attention. He then went on, as I went over, to go to a bunch of creationist museums, waste everybody's time there. And then, the point of this video, his new show, Bill Nye Saves the World, nominated for an Emmy. God knows how that happened. Now, I know 1 or 2 people who are reading Bill Nye's new book, and they seem to think he's pretty cool for some reason. So, let me read you guys some lyrics from the song that was featured on his new show. Now, this song may be the greatest song of all time. It's called My Sex Junk, performed by Rachel Bloom, with Bill Nye pretending to DJ in the background. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty cool. So here's the lyrics. Quote, "Are my options only hard or moist? My vagina has its own voice. Not vocal cords, a metaphorical voice. Sometimes I do a voice for my vagina. Please don't tell me I'm the only one who does it. Who doesn't do that? Sexuality is a spectrum. Everyone is on it. Even you might like it if you sit up on it." Yeah, I think somebody's on the spectrum here. But yeah, it's pretty disheartening, honestly. Basically, this whole show is just him trying to push the agenda that there are an infinite number of genders, as evident from these lyrics. And on episode 2, he had somebody illustrate a ice cream sex scene for him, where I guess each flavor represented a different gender or something. It's pretty weird. Oh, what's really interesting about this is during the 90s, on his show Bill Nye the Science Guy, he would teach kids that there are only 2 genders determined by the X and Y chromosomes. And I really don't believe that he was saying this because it was his professional opinion as a scientist that this is the case. I think he was only saying that because it was the cool thing to say at the time. And now that the cool thing to say is that there are 18,972 genders, that's exactly what he's doing. So yeah, overall, don't listen to Bill Nye. He only cares about himself. He doesn't care about saving the world or teaching people anything. He just wants attention. So, let me know, guys, what you think about my channel illustration, which I put in the background here. It's my first video. I didn't really have time to prepare too much. I was going to put some videos of Bill Nye in the background, but to illustrate my points further, but I've seen a few videos taken down due to copyright for doing stuff like that, so I decided against it. My next video will be on climate change. I'll try to give you guys the complete picture of what's going on so that you can make your own educated conclusions about it. For that video, I'll have a political cartoon in the background and some visuals to help illustrate the points I'm trying to make. So yeah, let me guys know what you think about Bill Nye. Let me know what your family thinks about Bill Nye. I'm pretty interested in what the public perception is. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know, guys. I'll see you next time with a video about climate change. Thanks for listening.